Stop what you're doing before you eat anything tonight, because what nobody tells you about brain aging after 60 could quietly steal your memory, your focus, and eventually your independence while you sleep. Most people believe memory loss is just a normal part of getting older. They think forgetting names, walking into a room and forgetting why, or struggling to find the right words is simply part of aging. But that's not the full truth. What's really frightening is this. Certain foods eaten at night may either help your brain repair itself while you sleep, or slowly accelerate inflammation, damage your brain cells, and increase the risk of cognitive decline over time. And after age 60, your brain becomes far more vulnerable than most people realize. The dangerous part? Many seniors are eating the wrong bedtime snacks every single night without knowing the long-term consequences. But tonight, that changes. Because in this video, I'm going to reveal 5 powerful bedtime foods that may help rebuild your brain overnight, improve memory, support mental clarity, and protect your mind as you age. And the number 1 food on this list shocked even many doctors when the research started coming out. My name is Dr. Patrick Rowe. I've spent the last 15 years studying aging, brain health, inflammation, and nutrition in older adults. And during that time, I've seen one heartbreaking pattern again and again. People wait until memory loss becomes severe before taking action. But according to research published through multiple aging and neurology studies, adults over 60 who regularly consumed brain-supportive nighttime nutrients showed up to 38% better memory retention and significantly lower rates of cognitive decline compared to those eating processed evening snacks. That's not a small difference. That's the difference between staying sharp and slowly losing pieces of yourself. And before we begin, I want to ask you something personal. How old are you? And have you noticed changes in your memory, focus, or mental energy lately? Maybe forgetting appointments, losing track of conversations, or feeling mentally slower than you used to? Let me know in the comments below. I read them carefully because thousands of people watching this are going through the same thing, and sometimes knowing you're not alone matters more than you think. Now let's begin with number 5. Because while it seems harmless, what happens inside your brain after eating this at night is far more powerful than most people realize. Number 5 is walnuts. Most people see walnuts as just another healthy snack, something small, something ordinary. But here's what most people never realize. Walnuts contain unusually high levels of omega-3 fatty acids, plant compounds, and antioxidants that directly support brain cell communication while you sleep. And nighttime is when your brain does some of its most important repair work. After 60, the brain naturally shrinks over time. Blood flow decreases, inflammation rises, and the protective coating around nerve cells begins weakening. That's one reason memory starts slipping. But walnuts appear to help slow part of that process. Researchers studying older adults found that those who consumed walnuts regularly showed improved cognitive test scores, especially in memory and processing speed. Now, does that mean walnuts are magic? No, but the mechanism is important. Your brain is nearly 60% fat. It relies heavily on healthy fats to maintain connections between neurons. When those connections weaken, communication slows down. That's when people begin saying things like, "I know the word, it's on the tip of my tongue," or "I just can't think as clearly anymore." One of my patients, Harold, age 68 from Arizona, told me he started feeling mentally foggy every evening. He'd forget what day it was, forget conversations with his wife. He became scared something serious was beginning, but instead of reaching for cookies or chips before bed, he began replacing them with a small handful of walnuts and unsweetened yogurt. 3 months later, he told me something emotional. He said, "I finally feel mentally awake again. Not perfect, not 25 years old again, but clearer, sharper, more present." And that matters, because mental fog doesn't just affect memory, it affects confidence, independence, identity. When people stop trusting their own mind, fear starts creeping into everyday life. Now, walnuts alone won't fix everything, but replacing inflammatory nighttime snacks with brain-supportive foods is one of the smartest changes older adults can make. And the next food on this list becomes even more important if you wake up tired, anxious, or mentally drained in the morning. But before we continue, if this video is helping you understand your brain and body in a new way, take a second to like the video and subscribe. Not for me, for yourself. Because the more you understand what's happening inside your body after 60, the more control you gain over your future. Now let's continue. Number 4 is pumpkin seeds. And honestly, this one surprises almost everyone. Pumpkin seeds don't look powerful. They're small, simple, easy to ignore, but they contain nutrients that many older adults are dangerously low in, especially magnesium and zinc. And deficiencies in those minerals have been linked to poor sleep, brain fog, anxiety, and declining cognitive function. But wait, it gets worse. Many seniors are unknowingly making this deficiency worse every night through stress, poor sleep, medications, or processed foods. Here's why that matters. Your brain detoxifies itself during deep sleep. That's not an opinion. That's biology. During sleep, your brain activates a cleaning process that helps remove waste products and inflammatory compounds that build up throughout the day. But poor sleep disrupts that process, and magnesium plays a major role in helping the nervous system relax enough to enter deeper sleep cycles. Researchers found that older adults with healthier magnesium levels often showed better memory performance and improved sleep quality compared to those with deficiencies. I remember speaking with Gloria, a 72-year-old retired teacher from Florida. She told me her biggest fear wasn't death. It was becoming dependent on others. She had watched her older sister slowly decline mentally over several years. First confusion, then forgotten names, then forgotten faces. That fear haunted her every night. She started making one small change, a spoonful of pumpkin seeds before bed alongside herbal tea. Weeks later, she noticed something surprising. She wasn't waking up exhausted anymore. Her sleep improved, her anxiety decreased, and she felt mentally steadier throughout the day. Again, not magic, but your brain responds to patterns. Small habits repeated nightly can either strengthen the body or weaken it over time, and what happens next is even more concerning. Because the next bedtime food may help protect one of the most vulnerable systems in the aging brain. Number 3 is blueberries. Now I know what some people are thinking. Dr. Rowe, they're just berries. That's exactly why so many people underestimate them. Blueberries are packed with compounds called anthocyanins. These are natural plant chemicals that help fight oxidative stress inside the brain. And oxidative stress is one of the major drivers of brain aging. Think of it like rust slowly forming inside the body. Over time, inflammation and unstable molecules damage cells, including the delicate cells in your brain responsible for memory and learning. After 60, this process speeds up dramatically. That's why many older adults suddenly notice rapid mental decline within just a few years. One long-term dietary study found older adults consuming flavonoid-rich berries showed slower rates of cognitive decline compared to those who rarely consumed them. But here's the hidden part nobody talks about. Nighttime may actually be one of the best times to consume brain-supportive antioxidants because your body enters repair mode during sleep. That's when restoration happens. One woman named Elaine, age 66 from Ohio, shared something heartbreaking with me. She told me she stopped reading books because she couldn't remember what she had read 2 pages earlier. Imagine how painful that feels. Reading used to bring her joy, escape, confidence. Then slowly, it became frustration. She started adding blueberries to cottage cheese before bed several nights a week. A few months later, she said something simple but powerful. I can focus again. Not perfectly, but enough to feel like herself again. That emotional shift matters more than people realize, because cognitive decline doesn't just steal memory, it steals identity. People begin withdrawing socially, avoiding conversations, hiding mistakes, pretending they remember things when they don't. And loneliness itself increases cognitive decline risk even more. That's why this matters so deeply. And if you know someone over 60 who constantly complains about brain fog or forgetfulness, share this video with them. It could genuinely help them understand what's happening before things worsen. Now the next food is where things become much more serious, because this one directly affects inflammation inside the brain itself. Number 2 is kefir or plain Greek yogurt. Most people think yogurt is only about digestion, but the gut and brain are deeply connected. In fact, scientists often call the gut the second brain. Why? Because your gut bacteria influence inflammation, mood chemicals, sleep quality, and even cognitive function. After 60, gut diversity often decreases. Antibiotics, medications, processed foods, stress, and poor diet can damage healthy gut bacteria over time. And when the gut becomes unhealthy, inflammation throughout the body increases, including in the brain. Here's what most people never realize. Inflammation in the brain doesn't always feel dramatic at first. Sometimes it feels like fatigue, forgetfulness, low motivation, mental slowness, and people assume it's just aging. But sometimes the body is quietly crying out for help. Fermented foods like kefir and plain Greek yogurt contain beneficial bacteria that may help support gut health and reduce inflammatory stress. One study involving older adults found probiotic-rich diets were associated with improvements in memory-related tasks and mental processing. Now listen carefully. This doesn't mean sugary yogurt loaded with artificial flavors. That can actually make things worse. I'm talking about plain, low-sugar fermented dairy with live cultures. One of my patients, Richard, age 74 from Texas, had terrible evening eating habits for years. Ice cream, cookies, sugary snacks late at night. His sleep worsened, his energy crashed, and mentally, he felt disconnected from life. He finally switched to plain kefir with cinnamon and crushed walnuts before bed. 6 weeks later, he looked me in the eye and said, "I feel calmer in my own head." That sentence stayed with me, because so many older adults don't feel calm inside anymore. They feel afraid of forgetting, afraid of decline, afraid of becoming a burden. But understanding how your body works gives you power. And now we come to the number one bedtime food. The one that may surprise you most of all. Number one is eggs. Yes, eggs. For years, people feared eggs because of cholesterol concerns. But modern research has become far more nuanced. And for brain health after 60, eggs may provide something critically important. Choline. Choline is a nutrient your brain uses to produce acetylcholine, a chemical messenger heavily involved in memory, learning, and mental clarity. The frightening part? Many older adults are not getting enough. And low choline intake has been associated with poorer cognitive performance in aging populations. But that's only part of the story. Eggs also contain protein, B vitamins, and nutrients that help stabilize blood sugar overnight. Why does that matter? Because unstable nighttime blood sugar can disrupt sleep and increase inflammatory stress on the brain. And poor sleep combined with inflammation creates a dangerous cycle for aging adults. I remember a man named Leonard, age 70 from Michigan. He used to wake up confused in the middle of the night, shaky, disoriented, sometimes anxious for no clear reason. His evening meals were mostly processed carbohydrates, toast, crackers, sugary cereal. He replaced those habits with simple protein-centered evening meals, including boiled eggs and healthier fats. Months later, his wife told me something emotional. He seems present again. Not just physically present, mentally present. That difference changes entire families, because cognitive decline affects everyone around the person suffering. Children notice, spouses notice, friends notice, and deep down, the person experiencing it notices too. That's why these small nightly habits matter far more than people think. Now, I need to tell you something important before we end this video. None of these foods are miracle cures. Anyone promising that is misleading you. But what you consistently eat before bed can either support your brain's overnight repair systems or slowly work against them. After 60, your body becomes less forgiving. Inflammation rises faster, recovery slows down, sleep becomes lighter, muscle loss increases, brain vulnerability grows. But here's the hopeful truth. Your body is still capable of change, even in your 60s, 70s, 80s. I have seen people dramatically improve their mental sharpness, energy, sleep, and confidence simply by changing daily patterns they repeated for years. And the most powerful changes are often the simplest. Not extreme diets, not expensive supplements, not impossible routines, just consistent, intelligent habits. A handful of walnuts instead of chips, pumpkin seeds instead of candy, blueberries instead of processed desserts, kefir instead of sugary snacks, eggs instead of empty carbohydrates. Small decisions, repeated consistently, that's how the body changes. And please remember this, protecting your brain is not just about memory, it's about protecting your independence, your ability to drive, to hold conversations, to recognize loved ones, to enjoy life fully, to wake up feeling like yourself. That future is shaped by what you repeatedly do today. So tonight, before you go to bed, ask yourself one honest question. Are your nighttime habits helping your brain heal or helping it decline? I'd love for you to leave a comment below and tell me which of these foods surprised you the most, and which one you're going to try first. And if this video helped you understand something important about aging and brain health, share it with someone you love. Because one conversation, one habit change, one piece of awareness can truly change the course of someone's future. This is Dr. Patrick Rowe, reminding you that growing older does not have to mean surrendering your mind, your clarity, or your independence. Your brain is listening to what you do every day. Starting tonight, give it the support it deserves. And before you leave, there's one final truth I need you to understand, because this may be the most important part of the entire conversation. Brain decline rarely happens all at once. It happens quietly, slowly. So slowly that most people don't notice the danger until the damage has already started affecting daily life. First, it's forgotten names. Then, missed appointments. Then, repeated conversations. Then, confusion while driving familiar roads. And eventually, some people begin losing the ability to manage the ordinary parts of life they once handled effortlessly. That's why prevention matters so much more than treatment, because once severe cognitive decline progresses, reversing it becomes incredibly difficult. But here's the encouraging news researchers continue discovering. The brain is far more adaptable than we once believed. Even after 60, your brain can still form new neural connections. It can still respond to healthier habits. It can still reduce inflammatory stress when given the right environment. And one of the biggest overlooked opportunities for repair happens during sleep. Most people think sleep is passive. It's not. Your body becomes incredibly active while you sleep. Cells repair themselves. Hormones rebalance. Inflammation levels shift, and your brain begins processing memories and clearing waste products accumulated during the day. But here's what most people never realize. If your body lacks the nutrients it needs during that time, the repair process becomes weaker. That's why late-night processed foods can be so destructive after 60. Sugary snacks, ultra-processed carbohydrates, and inflammatory oils may interfere with blood sugar stability, increase inflammation, and disrupt sleep quality at the exact time your brain is trying to restore itself. And unfortunately, many older adults fall into these habits because they're exhausted, lonely, stressed, or emotionally drained. I've had patients admit something painful to me over the years. They said nighttime is when they feel the most vulnerable. The house gets quiet, the distractions disappear, and fear starts getting louder. Fear about aging, fear about health, fear about the future. That emotional stress alone can affect sleep and cognitive health more than people realize. One widow I worked with, Margaret, age 76 from North Carolina, told me evenings became dangerous for her after her husband passed away. Not physically dangerous, emotionally dangerous. She stopped cooking proper meals. She survived on crackers, packaged snacks, and sweets late at night because eating alone made her feel empty. Over time, her energy dropped sharply. She struggled concentrating. Her sleep became fragmented and restless. But little by little, she rebuilt structure into her evenings. Simple, brain-supportive foods, a regular sleep schedule, herbal tea, soft music, reading again. Months later, she told me something I'll never forget. I finally feel like I'm participating in life again. That's powerful, because protecting the brain isn't just about avoiding disease. It's about staying connected to life itself, to conversations, to memories, to purpose, to the people you love. And if you're watching this right now thinking, maybe it's already too late for me, I want you to hear me carefully. Do not underestimate what consistent change can do over time. The body is always listening to repeated behavior. Every healthy choice sends signals that influence inflammation, blood flow, hormones, sleep quality, brain chemistry. One good night won't transform your brain overnight, but hundreds of healthier nights absolutely can change your trajectory. That's how real health improvements happen, quietly, gradually. Then suddenly people notice you seem sharper, more energetic, more emotionally steady, more present, and perhaps most importantly, more independent. Because independence is one of the greatest fears people have as they age, not being able to remember loved ones, not trusting your own mind, needing help with basic tasks, losing confidence in yourself. Those fears are real, but what's dangerous is believing decline is completely unavoidable. It's not. Yes, aging changes the body, but lifestyle determines how aggressively those changes progress. And tonight, you now know something many people never learn until it's far too late. Your bedtime habits matter, more than most people could possibly imagine. So when you walk into your kitchen tonight, pause for a moment before reaching for the usual snack. Ask yourself, is this feeding my future or feeding my decline? That one question alone can begin changing your health in ways you may not fully realize yet. And if you've stayed with me until this point, I want you to type the words, "Protect my brain," in the comments below. Not just as a comment, as a commitment to yourself. A reminder that your future mind deserves care, attention, and protection starting now, not years from now. And if you found this information valuable, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications, because the next videos will cover the hidden foods silently damaging memory after 60 and the nighttime habits that may increase dementia risk without people realizing it. Those conversations could be life-changing for you or someone you love. Until next time, this is Dr. Patrick Rowe reminding you of something very important. Aging is inevitable, but losing hope, giving up on your body, and surrendering your health too early, that is not inevitable. Your brain still responds to what you do every single day, and sometimes the smallest nightly habit, repeated consistently, becomes the reason someone stays mentally sharp, independent, and fully connected to life for years longer than expected. Starting tonight, choose wisely.